ThatPaulGuy. Well, I've spent the last couple of days going over quite a bit of information and poring over a lot of specs and videos and all kinds of stuff having to do with the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas this past week. For those of you that may not know or may not be familiar with, CES is probably the largest electronics show in the world, and if it has to do anything with electronics in some way or another, most of the time there's going to be some kind of display, there's going to be some kind of presentation. They're going to have a booth, they're going to be trying to show you these wares, and it could be stuff that's available right now to stuff that's going to be available later this year, or maybe even the next 2 years or 3 years. The three that most computer people are anxious to see, like myself, are one from NVidia, who concentrates solely on video cards and stuff like artificial intelligence and how things are rendered on your computer screen. The other one is Intel, which owns probably about 80% of the processor. If you have the brain of your computer, the central processing unit, Intel owns about 80% of that market. And AMD, or Advanced Micro Devices, which concentrates on both of them. They they compete with NVIDIA with video cards, and they compete with Intel as far as processors. They are usually a little bit less expensive. They might not quite be as good in some cases, although arguably Ryzen is topping that with Intel. But usually the value on those products are extremely good, and for somebody that wants performance, maybe not quite top of the line performance, but wants to do it on a little bit more cost conscious basis, AMD is usually a very, very good selection. The surprise there is over the past year or two, AMD has really outdone themselves, especially with processors. First one was NVIDIA. They came out and they announced their RTX 2060. The RTX takes advantage of ray tracing, which, if you haven't heard of it, don't feel bad. It's available in about 3 video games right now that are on the market. Ray tracing is a different way of projecting light, which is more realistic, so that things that are not normally on your TV screen, if it has a chance to be reflected either in water or on a glass surface like a window or something like that, just because it's out of your screen doesn't mean that you can't see it. For example, if you put your hand up above your head right now, you can't see your hand. But if you go do that in front of a mirror, you can see your hand in the reflection. I could actually see it in the TV screen or the screen on this camera. That would be, if a video game was doing that, that would be taking advantage of ray tracing. So NVIDIA had that announcement with the RTX 2060. It's going to be on sale starting the 15th for $350, about $350, which is it's a pretty big deal. So because it puts their new technology in the range of people like myself that are mainstream video gamers. Intel came out, they made an incredible announcement of nothing. Basically what they came out and said was that they are continuing to fill out their 9000 series processing line, and not a whole lot else past that. They do have several other models of processors that are going to be coming out, and they are sticking to their 10 nanometer platform. As far as size of the die, or nanometers, or whatever, or the processor, the transistors, I'll explain a little bit more of that when I get on to the next one. AMD, Advanced Micro Device, came out, and they had their big announcement was that they've come out with a new top-of-the-line card, their Vega 7. The Vega 7 is a little bit better, probably they say around the range of 20 to 25% better performance than their current Vega 64 card, and it goes toe-to-toe with some of NVIDIA's top-of-the-line or more top-of-the-line type cards without the benefit of ray tracing. NVIDIA immediately cried foul and said, oh, well, they started bashing the card and said doesn't have ray tracing and such so-and-so. And my thought there is, yeah, but there's less than a handful of games that are available for that. So until it starts to take more advantage of it, that might not be such a bad thing. The one thing that nobody mentioned about this card, it's a 7 nanometer card, and they did mention that, and that means that the processors are on this card are 7 nanometers large. That is approximately 1/10,000th of the thickness of your hair. So if you took 10,000 of these transistors that are on this video card and you lined them up side by side, you would have the thickness of a human hair. That's pretty damn tiny. I'm just saying. But anyway, so it is a major thing for this card. But the thing that I was remarking about is this is going to be available February 7th on their website, and it's not going to be available through other retail sources until October. So I'm wondering why the gap, especially when the biggest announcement they had. They did have some announcements. Both companies, both NVidia and AMD, announced that they had other notebooks that were going to be using their products and stuff like that. And power consumption was going to be way down and great stuff like that. But the biggest thing I have is AMD said they were going to have more announcements this year. They're expecting more video cards coming out. But I don't understand why they're only selling this one card on their website for 6 or 7 months before they make them available to other retailers. So I'm not really sure what their thought process is there. It's a little bit confusing to me. One thing that everybody did expect them to do is come out with the new updated Ryzen series CPUs that would go toe-to-toe with Intel. So basically, AMD is fighting a war on two fronts. They're not only trying to produce good quality or high quality video cards that will compete with NVIDIA and push NVIDIA to be even better, but they're also trying to push Intel to make better quality products. And right now AMD is they're fighting pretty well with NVIDIA, but they've got the edge on Intel. I think they produce a better processor in some cases and for a much better price, and in many cases it looks like the power consumption might be a lot less. So AMD might be really, I mean, kind of pushing both of them. So it's pretty interesting to see. But I'm going to keep going over some of the stuff. I'm going to keep trying to share it. If I can get a hold of some of this stuff, it'd be great. Usually somebody like myself that is a mainstream type gamer, I'd have to go out and use my own money to purchase these things to do a test. And I realized while going over a lot of this stuff, one of the main things I need to do first is I actually need to buy a test bench. So I'm going to be looking over the next couple of weeks, probably 2 or 3 weeks, just to get a test set up, and I'll go from there. I've got components and stuff like that and other things, and of course when these products start to hit, I'll try to lay my hands on some. But I'm going to start trying to set up and do some actual testing and show people that first. So that's my thoughts on that. CES, evidently, there was a lot of things that came out that some people expected. There were some things that weren't expected, and some things that kind of left you scratching your head. So there were some other exciting things by TVs like Samsung and LG and a couple other companies. There was also some different technologies in television that are coming out, including a double-paneled LCD screen that really rivals the quality of an OLED or an organic LED. So there's some pretty exciting stuff coming out. But in the meantime, we're going to see where this leads and going to see what happens. And I'm going to keep my eyes and ears open and see what's going on and see if I can't discover why AMD is only going to sell their new top-of-the-line video card on their website for the first 6 or 7 months. So that ought to be interesting. But that's all I got for right now. I'll have another video in the next day or so, also just talking about what's going on in my life and other things and other thoughts I've got. But as always, folks, if you want to, you can hit that subscribe button. Please do that. I'd love to see that. Thumbs up, thumbs down. If you're totally confused and have questions, feel free to ask me. If you never want to see content like this again, you can always leave me those comments too, but that's part of the reason why I'm doing this whole page or this whole channel. So until next time, guys, I hope everything finds you well, and I'll see you later.